How about that?
That's fine.
You'll do
So,
one.
if y'all, those of y'all that don't know me, I was Chief of Station 1, Chief of Station 5. So, reviewing the budget, looked at it, what your proposal was $206,000. Last year it was $203,000. The administrator last year and I spoke, we agreed, he needed to reduce it down, to make, he needed to save about $300,000. So he was reducing everybody, but we were also under the impression that we were going to go over budget at Station 1 due to some expenses that we had to spend to get some equipment right. In order to do that, we had to cut back on some of the other fire departments. So Station 5 got cut back a good bit, and Station 6, he cut the budget back to about $10,000 in Station 6. With that being said, being how the budgets were cut last year, we didn't get to purchase a whole lot. I actually didn't get to purchase much of anything. Basically, everything you see here was in repairs. We had a lot of repairs, and the supplies. They got some stuff got stuck in supplies that were for the preparedness of the hurricane that came in. So a lot of that got stuck in the Station 1 as supplies. With that being said, I know we had capital expense of $6,500. We didn't actually spend that capital expense just because we went over budget so much. We didn't buy anything for capital. Going into this year, even at 200, I know our budget for Station 1 went up 3,000, but even with that, we got the new ladder truck. Which is going to be about $15,000 by the time we get it certified, get some more equipment that it needs. A lot of equipment was donated. Oak Grove donated a lot of equipment. Palmetto Rural donated some equipment. We still need some equipment to get that truck certified and operate in order. Not to mention the ladder needs to be certified, which is about right at $1,800. And the pump needs to be certified, which I can get the pump certified for about $200 or tested. Now it does have a leaking valve on it, and or two leaking valves, and we can get those replaced by the same person that's going to do the pump test. So I'm waiting on a quote for that. So I added back in $15,000 for the ladder truck. It might take $15,000, it might take a little bit less, but needless to say, we got the ladder truck. We need to get it in service. Repaired tanker. We got a 5,200 gallon tanker down at Station 1. Engine's blown in it. That's going to be, I'm going off of what it took to rebuild Lattice tanker, the engine in it. So that's going to be about $10,000. So I added $10,000 into that. We didn't buy any turnout gear. We've got some turnout gear that needs to be replaced. So I put $7,500 in for that. And radios. Radios now through Carolina Communications, the radios we could get them for about $450. They quit carrying the radios that we were getting, the Hyteras. Now you have to get Motorola's, and they're $850 a piece. So they went up. So that's why you see so much for the radios, $25,000 for the radios.
Y'all don't have radios now?
We do, but they're old, outdated, and half of them work, half of them don't work. So we bought those Hyteras probably about 12 or 13 years ago. So they've been through a lot. And it's not just our station, every station in Dillon County needs radios. They get broken, they get stepped on, they get dropped in house fires. So now with some of that, we may be able to get a grant and get some of the radio stuff. So that's something that we need to sit down with Clay and talk to Clay about getting USDA grant or a safer grant. I know Oak Grove got a grant to get radios, so we need to look at writing some grants for radios. But pretty much everything else, unless we get a NIFRS grant, or a FEMA grant, it's not gonna.
We were looking at some grants a year or so ago for fire departments.
Yeah, we're looking at some USDA grants, but I don't know.
And they said that since our fire departments wasn't keeping records like they're supposed to be and turned in, that we wasn't eligible for grants. I think Oak Grove was at that time the only one that was eligible.
Well, I know Station 1 now does the NIFRs. I know Station 3 was doing it. John, I think y'all still doing it, right? Station 9 was doing it. Lau was doing it. We are doing it. Station 4 does not do it. And Station 5 doesn't have the capability, the internet service out there to be able to do it. So with that being said, altogether that's $58,000 added on top of the budget. So I know that's a steep price, but you know, whatever we can get out of that, you know, we need. Of course, every station, everybody just representing a station here today needs equipment and supplies. So last year, Station 1 came in at $241,706.
And what we're looking at this year, that's why we want firemen here.
This year, you're looking at around 200. Well, it's budgeted for 206,000, but we actually need about 260,000.
Well, we right now, this Clay's come up, but we're about $500,000 short in our budget, and right.
Yeah, we've been trying to close that gap.
You got it down to. Yeah. So I don't know exactly where the money's coming from. We want to know what you can get, but we sure can't promise you anything unless we can.
Look, I understand that, but you know, I've got to bring it. You know, I've got to do my job to bring it to y'all and say, hey,
that's what we want to
you
know.
know, yeah, this is what we need, and it's, you know, y'all tell me yay, nay.
Yeah.
I just wish the other two councilmen on this committee were here so they could hear
Yeah.
the thing, because.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, we had a meeting not too long ago, and you and the other two councils in here, Andy was here, and we all discussed, you even said, we don't have the money to fund the fire departments now.
Right.
Why would we cut funding for the fire departments?
That's right.
You know, even at the funding that we had, still isn't enough to run the fire departments that we have. So
You ain't cut any funding from the fire department.
Well, pretty much what they got last year, but what he's saying is they need additional funding for these additional items.
well, actually, the Station 6, it took $21,000 just to keep the doors open last year. You look at the salaries and overtime, it come in around $7,000. Of course, it's going to be about $7,200 this year. Again, just to keep someone up there for 4 hours.
Yeah, but at a substation, I don't see why you have to have anybody there.
Well, if that's something that we want to look at, then that's fine. But even if you take
one of 7 people.
Yeah, even if you take the $7,000 out for salary, it's still going to cost, you know, more than $10,000. So it got cut from $21,000 to $10,000 to operate that station. And you know, you got repair on the truck. Truck has to be serviced every year. Truck has to be pump tested every year. Ladders have to be tested, and the air pipes have to be tested on that truck. And with $10,000, you know, that's going to be tough there.
Right.
Now, and Station 5. Station 5, we came in right at $100,000 last year. We were budgeted for $128,000. Of course, we cut some salaries, but however, we bought nothing for Station 5 last year. We got the pumper tested, and we did some repairs on the pumper, and that's basically all we did. Everything else was what it took to run it, but now we've been cut to $85,000, which is, you know, $15,000 less than what we came in at, what our operating cost was last year, and that was just to operate the building. We need, you know, out there at Station 5, we need hose, we need nozzles, about $2,500 worth of nozzles. We need a master stream. There's not a master stream out there at Station 5. K-12 saws about $1,800, and of course we need radios as well. I know, you know, Harold said the last time we were in here that You know, he wanted to know when that station was gonna be back up in operation. You know, cutting funds like that, you cannot entice people to come and be on the fire department when the fire department can't hardly keep the doors open. So, you know, I can't buy them turnout gear. You know, if I do add new firemen, I can't put turnout gear on. So, I'm asking for another 19,000 to be added back to the 85,000, just to be able to buy some equipment for Station 5. Of course, I am trying to work on a grant with some people out there, but
She said he couldn't get off in time to get here.
but even with that being said, if the grant comes, great. If it don't, we're stuck operating with peanuts.
What happened to the turnout gear that was out there?
The turnout gear that was out there, people already had it. The people we got
And it goes out of date.
8 stations and it goes out of date. So when we bought that turnout gear, that was back when Jimmy Jackson was chief. So that's been some time ago. Not to mention the wear and tear on it. I mean, that's just the shelf life is 10 years. That's if it's sitting on a shelf, not being used, it's 10 years. Of course, if you use it, you fight fire with it, it's going to get sold, it's going to get torn, it's going to get ripped. You got to replace it.
Yeah, because I think when I was here before, we were trying to do 3 a year or something like that, 3 or 4 a year.
Well, I think every fire department in here is probably facing the same thing.
They all are. We're all facing the same issues. John needs radios. We need radios. I think Lada just got some radios, but they needed radios. I mean, it's every fire station. I mean, we've gone years now. We're not really putting any kind of money into the fire service, except for what basically the bare minimum of what it takes to keep the door open.
Well, there isn't a lot of using telephones a lot since the radios don't work.
Well, we're on that e-dispatch, just like that, I think everybody else is in the county. We have e-dispatch to alert the firefighters, but we still rely on radios. You'd have to have radios for the fireground operations.
Not to mention e-dispatch works half time. If they don't hold the button long enough at 911, then it don't work.
And when you're talking about e-dispatch, we're actually wasting more money on e-dispatch than the active 911. It's a whole lot cheaper. It's actually like $1,200 cheaper than what we're paying for e-dispatch. I think they just can't do it at the 911 system, Albert.
Yeah.
They can't do it or won't
They
do it?
won't.
They won't do it.
Because
It saves us money. I mean, there's a lot of wasted money going out.
That's at each fire station.
Well, the town of Latta pays for Station 2s, so.
Everybody but Latta is one account, and each fire department has an administrator that adds users and deletes users from that account. And we have a set amount of users that we can add countywide, but we split the expense amongst the stations when the bill comes. So, and that was something that started because we had rescue squads and fire departments that didn't have pagers and had newer folks that we added to the fire department that we just didn't have a radio to give, and we could add that app to their phone and it would act as a pager so they could at least respond to the call and help. But the issue is we don't have enough firefighters to put in the hands of the certified firefighters that are going interior that can't call you from inside the house on a cell phone to tell you what's going on. We got to have actual radios utilized for fighting fire, whether that's a certain number of radios on each truck, and the people that show up to the scene put those on. But then the other problem you got is you got an engineer responding to a structure fire at 2 in the morning, and everybody's only got this thing going off as a pager. That engineer doesn't hear anybody keying up on the radio coming to them. They don't know if they got help or not. So that part of the communication is also key, because it helps the person responding to the fire know if they need to go ahead and call for another station or 2 more stations, because they got an idea what kind of manpower they've got coming. So
Would it be to try to go like we used to, try to get all the radios the same way? I mean, same type?
They should
same-
be.
They should all be
radios should
programmed.
be programmed the same way.
That's what I was thinking, we should be the same.
They should all be programmed the same, and then figure out how many you need in the county and
Right.
see what kind of price we could get.
Countywide.
Because buying 10 radios may cost you
Right.
$10,000, where if you're buying 40 radios, it may cost you $32,000 and you save $8,000. I mean,
Yeah, you will. If you
There's-
buy,
But that goes the same for the hose testing and the pump testing and stuff. Instead of
That's
letting
right.
one station do it here and one station do it here, every time they come, they charge.
right,
If they have hose testing, or not hose testing, but pump testing, let's do it countywide.
right.
It's cheaper that way, but
and we did that a few years ago. They
Yeah.
brought one draft commander over
That's right.
and they pump tested all the trucks. We took the trucks to them and rotated them out, and they made a multiple day trip out of it. But if they come to Dillon and test trucks today, and then Andy's got them scheduled for next month, they charge him a fee
That's
to
right.
tow that thing all the way to Dillon,
That's
and
right.
then they're gonna charge it again to tow it to Latta. And we did that before. I think Buddy Ray actually organized that, got it all done, and had it scheduled, and we did it,
All at one time.
countywide, all at one time, and it saved us probably $600-700. But I mean, you're trying to make up a $500,000 shortfall, and we pinching pennies back here trying to save $500.
Yeah.
Because $500 to buy a radio.
Yeah, that's what I'm
but on the back end of that, the pump testing goes right over to the ISO.
Yep.
You gotta have that
You
every
gotta
year.
have it.
I mean, then,
Yeah,
if
you
you're
gotta-
trying to save money for it, you gotta look out for the taxpayers too.
Yeah, you got
And we
it.
have to show those records if we have a failure fighting a structure fire, or anything happens that, where someone gets injured because that pump fails. We gotta show that
Yeah.
we did have it certified,
Yeah.
that issue obviously came up during that
Because I
time.
remember one time we got them all done at one time. I
Yep.
remember that a few times, and, you know, that's,
We need to try to look into doing it that way again.
that's just a logistical, trying to get together, all making sure everybody's on the same page, and this particular time will work for
Every
everybody.
little bit, helps.
You know,
You know how many radios you got right now?
10.
I'll let me know exactly how many you got. Well, let's get a number.
Y'all got any idea how many, if you got older departments, how many radios all together we need?
Like we inventory station now, so we got it count.
Especially if we're gonna try to get somebody to write a grant, instead of just write it for one department, we need to write it.
That's the thing, we need to do anyway, instead of operating as
Yeah.
6 or 5 individual fire departments. This is Dillon County Fire System. We are the same system. Let's quit operating like individual stations. We are one system, supposedly.
right. Yeah, it's gonna help you on the fire grants too, if you can combine your numbers in together at all the different calls, it'll help you get
Especially
some,
on equipment.
yeah, it'll help you get better grants and make it,
100
you know,
firefighters fighting 1,000 fires looks a lot better on a grant application than 10 firefighters fighting 40.
correct. No question about it.
I
And-
totally agree with that, you know, and that goes back to where we had the 3-station response, but then we cut it out because said it was, you know, it was too expensive or whatever, but, you know, what we're fighting right now is manpower, especially during the day. And, you know, we actually really need to go back to the 3-station response so we can get help.
I agree with you on that, because, it's not gonna cost the county that much, because people are not showing up. You need somebody there when you have a structure
They're not
fire.
showing up.
Don't really matter, I agree with this
A lot of these people
response.
misunderstand it and think a grass fire or a car
Right.
fire is a 3-station thing, but that's not, it's a structure fire.
It's a structure
Right.
I've been
fire.
trying to tell these guys
That's
that.
what we're trying to say, structure fire, not a
My
grass
house
fire.
catching on fire, I want as many as y'all.
Well, we need to address that with 911, because in the town of Latta, it's only a 1-station response. And I told Sonny McCrae several years ago, he told me there was a 1-station response for the town of Latta. I said, well, there's no longer a town of Latta fire department. It's Dillon County Station 2. But we still get a single station response for a structure fire in the town of Latta.
Yeah.
That's all we get. I have to ask for somebody immediately when we get a fire.
But they need to be changed.
So,
We get the
so y'all
same.
too? In town?
Oh, well, I mean, we took over town of Lakeview, so
Yeah.
but they're toning, they're dropping both tones for
So, yeah.
no reason.
Yeah, yes.
I'll check on that, because I do agree with you, I think, no doubt about it, during the daytime, there's no question. I mean,
We're
three
struggling, I'm
stations.
telling you, we're
I mean,
struggling.
sometimes you need to tone out as many as you can get, you know what I mean, just.
Well, you're
just
looking
so
at
you get,
3
you know,
stations getting an average of 10.
20 years ago, when I was on the fire department, everybody worked individual, they didn't work like people work now. And we could get off, the people we work for, everything is fine, but now you work Harbor Freight or you work somewhere else, they're not gonna let you leave.
Right.
Well, what we
If
need to
people
try
walk
to
in-
curb, what we can't have, or what we can't afford, because, I mean, we can't afford the volunteer system right now, is having to go to a full-time fire, station, or, you know, full-time fire department.
There's no way that what county like Dillon could do
No,
that.
and that goes back to what we're talking about in
You
this
got-
budget.
Yeah, you gotta
You
have
know,
volunteers.
when we cut our budgets
Even
below what we can
volunteers.
operate at, when we cut our budgets below what we can operate at, it's
Yeah.
hard for us to even I mean, how can I entice a volunteer to,
Yeah.
hey, come on, yeah, we'll get, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You got to wear this old, you know,
Yeah.
20, 30-year-old turnout gear until we can scrounge up some money to buy you something. I mean, yeah, we got some dedicated people like that, but it's harder and harder for us to get the young guys interested in a fire service, and, you know, there's no wow factor to it.
Well, Station 6 out there, when they started to try to get it started up, Larry Cox, I know for certain, went to several people out there, had 8 or 10 people in that area. Oh yeah, we want to be volunteer fire departments, we live out here. And then when they found out they had to take a class, nobody showed up.
I mean, that is part of it. I mean, you got to be certified. I mean,
And that's what we're running into. There's no volunteers coming. There's no volunteers.
Right,
So
Right.
eventually we want to change. Within 5 years, we ain't gonna have nothing.
right. I think
But
it's,
you
We're
can't,
almost
but you also
there now. I don't know if
can't,
it's
you
even
can't change
5
the
years.
standards.
No, we're there.
You can't change the standards
No.
to fit the problem either. You still have to have the standard, the minimum standard.
I mean, what we're doing today is as complex as we've ever seen the fire service to be. We're getting more calls, the complexity of the calls out on 95 and all this industry and all this stuff. And how do you get an individual who's 18 or in his 20s or in his 30s to say, tell you what, come join the fire department. We're going to put you through a couple hundred hours of training for free.
Right.
We're not going to be able to give you really cool gear like the other counties have. We're going to put you in these trucks that may or may not break down. Nobody wants to sign up for that.
right.
We're just not getting the people like we used to. It used to, every business meeting, you'd have 1 or 2 people coming up to check out the fire department. Now, it's every 6 months. Just on, I mean, again, I go back to, you go to the ball field to see how many people want to volunteer to be a coach, there's a lot. To see how many people want to volunteer to go be a firefighter, nobody. Nobody wants to run that risk.
Right.
and we're not, Dillon County is not the only one feeling that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
So,
I mean, it's a nationwide issue right now. And 80% of all firefighters in the United States are volunteer. So, you know, and that number is dwindling down, so. We've got to do something to entice the people,
Oh yeah.
the younger generation in Dillon County, to want to join the fire department and learn the
I mean,
fire
is there
department.
anything else we could do? I mean, even if we got some, say, better equipment, I know that may help, but I mean.
You know, and the funny, the nice shiny trucks is,
Yeah.
you know, but, you know, we need a program. You know, it needs to start at high school.
Yeah, I agree with
You
you.
know, we need a program at the tech center.
Yeah.
You know, level 52, all the way, you know, let's get them certified at firefighter 1. Or whatever, you know, whatever we feel like. But it needs to start at the high school level, and it needs to start at Dillon, Latta, and Lake,
I agree with you.
to get people interested.
Yeah.
You know, even in the EMS service, we need to have
We're
EMT
hurting.
classes.
John knows we're hurting out there.
What?
We
EMS
have
too.
that out there.
Oh, that's right, they do. So, but they don't have fire. So, and you know, it's running more and more, just like, you know, we need to start carrying extrication equipment on our trucks, but, you know, we can't buy extrication equipment. You know, that was a horrific scene. I don't know if y'all went to it. I went to it yesterday, just because they asked for more help, where the car drove through Zaxby's. It didn't drive into Zaxby's, it drove through Zaxby's. All the way through Zaxby's into the kitchen. And if it had been open and there'd been people in there eating,
Yeah.
that would have been bad. That would have been extremely bad. And we don't have the equipment to be able to handle that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now, anything else on your budget, we're gonna try to give these other guys a chance to.
Yeah, go ahead. I mean, that's it. I mean, you know, really, you know, Station 1, you know, it looks like a lot, but, you know, we definitely got to get the ladder truck in service and try to get that tanker repaired. And then, you know, out there at Station 5, you know, running on 85,000 is almost impossible.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go with, Station 2 next.
I really hadn't,
Yeah.
I didn't prepare as much as Mr. Mumford did.
Yes.
I didn't know what this was. I just thought we were talking
No,
about
that's
other
fine.
stuff. But, I mean, I looked at the proposed budget. It was sent to me. And as far as I can tell, I mean, it is what it is. I know we don't have money, so I usually don't ask for a whole lot from the county. So, but I do want to, expand my fire department's, reach and with rescue.
Right.
That's what I want to do. I mean, that's been a personal goal of mine since I became chief. So that is something I want to, the arena that I want to move towards. We already do fire and stuff like that we're supposed to do.
Right.
But the more you can add to the service, the more you value by the customer, which is the community.
Right.
So that's where I want to go with that.
Yeah, yeah. And I think you got some guys that want to do that, participate and
I'm very lucky at my station. I have a lot of guys who are either career firefighters or former career firefighters who are trained to do those things.
yeah, that's
I want to utilize that stuff.
yeah. And I think that, I know you and I looked at a truck and I think that's a good deal on a good truck. That truck we looked at over there, I think that
Yeah.
Lattice,
not the only
and Lattice will work with us on it.
Yeah,
think
I
that,
agree. Just looking at the inventory from the truck and putting prices together for what, just the inventory, this is without the
Right.
truck.
Right,
It conservatively, $138,000 is what the truck has equipped on it.
right. That's, yeah.
That's without the truck price.
We're gonna get a lot less than that, so that's even better.
Yeah.
So, if you had to go buy it and all that stuff.
Yes,
so,
well, new the truck was almost $400,000.
Right, right.
So I still have to go to Ladder Town Council and present to them
Okay.
about the truck. But once I do that, then we'll get together and talk a
Yeah, that sounds good.
little further about that, because that has to go through first.
Yeah, I do think that, like I said, like John had mentioned too, if we work together on the numbers and kind of work, you know, we stand a better chance of getting some fire grants.
A truck like that would have been perfect for yesterday.
Yeah,
It has all the stuff. I
right,
mean, we already have rescue jacks and stuff at my station
right.
from the port that was given to us by the port. But that would have been a perfect apparatus to use yesterday.
Yeah, and we could have worked with Lattice. I mean, Oak Road, and y'all, I know y'all work very closely with Lattice too on doing stuff. And, y'all got challenges too. You get the interstate, and Station 1's got the interstate too. So it's
Station 1's got the interstate, and then, you know, the inland port's fixing to ramp up even more.
it is.
And you're gonna have, it's gonna look like I-95 coming off the interstate with 18-wheelers.
Yep.
All you need is two of those to tangle up together.
Yeah, we got a lot of economic development. If it gets going right there at that 34, that intersection's gonna be.
That intersection's gonna be hopping.
Put your SUV or third road seat in and pull kids up under the back end of the traffic trailer seat.
So I do think it's a good idea on that truck you're talking about with that excavation truck.
Yes, sir.
I think it's huge.
Plus, I mean, he's 8 hours, you're 8 hours at your station. That would mean that there's a rescue 24 hours a day available.
Right, right. And that, don't you agree, that would help y'all in Oak Road?
Yeah, it'll help us, but we also, for our ISO ratings, we
Yeah.
need another second out engine.
Okay,
And it's gonna be an engine, it's gonna be an engine pump, a tanker pumper, or, I mean,
Right.
a pump, engine pumper,
right.
excuse me, engine pumper tanker.
Yeah, pump.
Pumper tanker, and we're gonna use that also to take 3 trucks, replace 3 trucks. It'll be low cost on maintenance, you won't have to worry about the high insurance and all that.
Right.
And it's also be covering 95, the hotels.
Right,
The hotels is coming out, gonna be 4 hotels, what the guy told me.
yeah,
So they're gonna be 4-story highs. That's where the ladder truck comes in. That'll be education for the rescue truck there also.
right,
It's coming.
yeah.
We just don't know when, but it's coming. And we're gonna have everything we need.
Yeah, you're gonna have to, and especially the industry's gonna need it too, especially with Lyman Gordon and Harbor Freight, that crowd. Definitely need
Well,
a
you
ladder
got
truck and
you
stuff
got
like
the
that.
inland ports, the logistics
Yeah.
centers going up now.
Yeah.
But we can also, you can bill for EMVAs.
Right,
They're bringing money from the fire side into the county.
yeah.
Just gotta figure out what we can do. I think you talked about it, Moses. What's the name of the company?
No,
Nova Company. You can do billing for
Yeah,
EDS.
And we've got that in the budget. I know they've had it in there for a year or so. You know, maybe this year we're gonna try to, you know, get a program designed where we can bill for it. You know,
Right.
get
That'll
stuff in there.
help increase.
I mean, you know, it may not generate a lot of money, but at least it gets it going. And if you
That's right.
have, like you said, if you have a catastrophe or God forbid, I hope it doesn't happen.
Well, Station 2, so they would deal with Station 9 too, because y'all pretty well work together. You
Right.
can pretty well tell us what
That's
it's really pushing y'all out there, y'all really need right now.
Yes, it's starting to grow out there big time, and I'm pretty sure your area, Atlanta is kind of big too for us, you know?
Yeah.
It's growing.
Are we not billing now?
No, not
So
so
why are we
far.
filling out the forms?
Yeah, because we've got in the budget, and that's one of the things I was gonna do this year is make sure we bill what we had scheduled out, you know what I mean? It says residential building fire response call, $500. And then it says commercial industrial building fire response call, $1,000. And vehicle fire response call, $150.
Well, I mean, we've been filling out forms for a year.
Yeah, for a year, yeah.
Why are we wasting our time? I'm
Yeah, right
a
there.
free
No,
guy.
don't stop, because I'm getting ready to, you know, I'm kind of new getting into this.
Yeah, I'm just asking the questions just so I know. I mean, I don't want to spend another 20 minutes of my time for the county
No.
for free.
And where you got the fire response side where fire there,
Yeah.
I was stretching that out and putting NVAs.
Right,
And
I need to add that to that. okay?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and that would help solve that issue.
Right.
But the money needs to come to the fire department.
Yes.
Yes.
It doesn't need to go to the sheriff's department or roads and bridges
Right.
or if we're out there spending fire department money to put foam on wrecks and to
Right.
use our stuff to take care of these or mitigate these situations, then the money needs to come back to the departments.
Yeah, for y'all,
You know, our equipment, if it fails, we have to replace that equipment, it costs.
right, right,
That's been the argument with these hurricanes and the ice storm in 2014.
yep,
We utilize a lot of manpower, we utilize a lot of equipment.
Yep.
We had volunteers that were pretty much manning stations with 6 and 8 people around the clock for an entire week. And FEMA paperwork was filled out and the
Yep.
county got money back for that. But these volunteers didn't get paid, they saw nothing in the end. We didn't see any new equipment, we didn't see any new gear, we didn't see any new tools. We got nothing out of it except for them getting paid for a handful of fire calls, which is
Yep.
$75 a person or whatever.
yeah,
So, I mean, that type of stuff, just like billing insurance, when we got volunteers that are giving up their time and working around the clock during a Hurricane Matthew or a Hurricane Florence,
Yeah.
and we're gonna fill out the FEMA forms and send them in, it's gonna get done.
yeah,
And we're gonna say, we use this truck, and we cut 10 trees out of the highway so we'd have a passable road from Dillon to Lakeview or Dillon to Latta.
yeah,
And then we get 75% or whatever the going rate is from FEMA on manpower.
yeah,
The fire service hasn't seen any of that.
yeah, yeah. that's-
And I mean, you had 80 people that gave up a week of their life during Hurricane Matthew countywide to help, to be there, to serve their community. And I turned in plenty of paperwork for FEMA. I know all of y'all turned in paperwork that got sent to FEMA, that we got 75% reimbursement for. Am I right, Mr. Moses, on that? 75%?
That's what we're supposed to get.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and we don't see
And I think-
any of that back.
And I do think this, the CARES Act, you know what I mean, that came down from the feds down to the state, which they hadn't released the money so far yet. I mean, some areas they released the money to hospitals and others, but not to the local governments yet, but we're in the process of turning in some stuff now. They got a deadline of,
Yeah.
you know, some of that. So we may, if that comes back, we may see some of that, you know what I mean? So, you know, I don't,
And I'm gonna go back to what y'all were talking about the working together part.
Yep.
As far as y'all responding and having equipment that works together on calls and can run both departments, manpower can run off of those trucks. You had a study done some years ago here.
Yep. Yep.
And I got a copy of that study still.
Yep.
And we've completed probably 50%
Right.
of what we were told in a study 20 years ago needed to be done.
Right, that's right.
Harbor Freight paid for a guy to come and do a study 2 years ago, year and a half ago. He gave a good, better, best scenario for where to go from where we were as a fire service countywide, not just as far as
Yeah,
Station 1 responding to Harbor
The whole
Freight.
thing,
He went
the
so
whole-
far
the
as to look
whole-
at the whole picture
right,
and tell us and report to council
right.
on good, better, best, where we need to go from here,
Right,
what we need to do. And Harbor Freight spent some money on Station 1 and got Station 1 some gear
right,
and some fire hose and some other stuff. But he gave us a picture of where we need to go, and he's a really smart guy.
right.
Worked in 2 different states, worked in 2 different size fire departments, worked in a rural setting, he worked in a big city setting.
Did everybody get a copy of
He
that?
knew what he was talking about. He did a presentation for council and Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight administrator and some members of council got his findings
Okay.
sent back to them. So we got a good idea of where we need to go. And I know we were here to kind of ask for money, but the picture is we can throw in $5,000 out and saying, hey, here's $5 grand to get you some turnout gear this year is not a fix. Because in 3 more years, we're gonna be sitting in the same meeting asking for some money to get some turnout gear.
Yeah.
I want 4 sets of turnout gear for 4 firefighters that I got. One, I don't have any gear to fit them. They're wearing some gear that's too big. And the other 3, I don't have any gear to fit them because they're too big for the biggest set I got.
Right,
Because the biggest set I got won't fit me.
right.
So, I mean, and what I do have was donated from Station 1 to Lakeview
Right,
in 2008, and it was manufactured in 1993.
right, right.
How much is a set of turnout gear?
A full set is $2,700. Well, of what we've been.
When you throw everything, yeah,
Yeah.
full outfitted, yeah.
We got firemen now that don't have anything to wear, is that what you're saying? You got ladies?
I got 3 brand new volunteers that's been added. One of them has certification, and I have no gear to give them to put on
They gonna have
to fight fire.
You have to get the gear somewhere. If you get a firefighter, the volunteers ready to come in,
I'm getting ready to put 2 on Station 5 and 2 more on
turn out
Station
gear from
1.
somewhere not used.
But that's kind of, well, I'll wait till they get, if they gotta be certified fire one before I'll purchase gear for them.
Right.
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
We can't utilize them structurally until they're fire one.
But I don't even have any gear that doesn't meet
Yeah.
the standard so that somebody could wear it on the outside, or that I couldn't send one of them to 1152 tonight if they had to have gear with them in class because I don't have it.
You gotta have that walking in the door.
Yeah, and then, way back though, when we buying 3 gear,
We're
when I was
buying
before, we were buying, 4 to 5.
When you were here, we bought 3 sets.
Yeah.
First year I was cheap.
I think Station
And
5.
then, and then the next year we didn't get in, and then the next year we got like 5 sets.
Okay,
So it's kind of been staggered out, and there's been discussion back and forth about doing 3 sets
3
for
5,
each station
yeah.
a year, 3 to 5, anywhere in there, somewhere in there. But
Yeah, right.
right now we're in a position to where we,
3 sets won't cut.
I mean, it's kind of like coming back to the pantry to get some more flour. We need a steady flow of flour. We don't need to stop what we're doing and come back every time we run out.
And it may be a situation where we all need to get together and find out each fire department what they need. Like
Well, not-
if you need 5 and 5 and 5.
Itemize
Then we
with
can-
prices.
Not to mention, now with COVID, where it was about 2 months to get gear, now it's 4 to 5 months to get gear.
Yeah.
It's a long time to get.
If everybody get together with all the fire
Yeah,
turnout gear from the same place at the same time.
We all get it
Yeah,
from the
we
same.
all get it from the same guy.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And actually,
And we get a little better price.
yeah, I was
Right
saying,
there
Chris
with-
got it. He's supposedly have worked out a better price for the county because.
Well, here's, the last time I talked to Chris, the problem with it is now line has gone up on the gear, because we didn't uphold our end of the bargain. We were supposed to get 5 sets for the main stations or all the stations for the first 3 years, and then we were supposed to go to 2 or 3 sets per station after that. Because we didn't do it, line said, never mind, we're not gonna give a discount anymore, so it's not gone up as high as all the gear, but the price has gone up. We were getting a pair of pants and a jacket for, coming in at $1,600, and now it's somewhere like 18 to 2,000.
I know we're in a different ballgame now, but like 6 or 8 months ago, we came here and had a meeting where we turned in itemized lists with prices and everything. I mean, the full,
Okay. I wasn't here.
everything. So, yeah, I know it's a totally different situation now,
Did you
but
keep a copy?
I do.
If
Mr.
somebody's
Mose got a copy of
certified to go
everything.
in a house fire, they got to have the equipment to where to go in.
You gotta have,
Send
you gotta have
somebody
it
in
on
there,
the
but
But not only do we have to have the equipment to go in with, we've got to have the equipment on the outside to be able to say that the guy going in is gonna be okay. And this 1992 pumpers that we're getting for $10,000 is great, but they're not that, I couldn't tell you, we hadn't had a problem with them so far, but I ain't gonna say that something major won't go out with it.
So that's something I always push for from the beginning, to see us get a pumper
Right.
every every year just rotate them. But the way the budget and stuff's been since I've been on the council, I haven't seen no money
Have
to do it with. We got to find it somewhere.
Have they have they looked into the lease thing with places?
Yeah,
with trucks?
we looked at leasing some, and then, like I said, that may be a way to look at it in the future, see if we can lease them or finance them.
We've been discussing, like I say, that it's the $55. We hope we get the 55 passed in the budget this year, bring in a little bit more money for the fire department, but not much. We're hoping we can do it next year, have fire based on millage. Somebody with $1 million house pays more than somebody in a $1,500 trailer. And that's what we need to go to, so we can get some money for the fire department, so you can, but I think that's what they do in most of these towns around Florence and places like that.
But there's also, what they do over there is they have a fire department budget. Everything's not just tossed into general funds that can be pulled from any one department. Raising the fire fee to put it in the general funds is just, it could go anywhere. It's not coming back to us. We're raising the fire fee, but we're also cutting the budgets.
Yeah, and basically the fire fee bring in currently right now about $400,000, and then it costs about $1.1 million, so the county.
That's just
Every
an
$10
operation
on that
cost.
fire fee is $100,000.
Do what?
Every $10 on that fire fee is $100,000.
Yeah, it's
Roughly.
about, like I said, it's about $400,000 right now is what it brought in last year, a little bit more than that, not much more than that. And then when you figure all the fire departments put together, it's about $1 million, about $1.1 million, somewhere in there. That doesn't include all the tort liability and everything else, but that's all the stations combined.
We contacted some other counties. February, I talked to y'all February of 2018. We contacted some other counties and talked to their coordinators about how they function, their budgets, and we talked to counties that were doing truck replacement every year and a set number of sets of gear every year, and had a 12 to 20 full-time employees, rural county services. And most of what they said was the key to their changes, to them going from struggling and facing the struggles we face, was that they changed from a flat fee to a millage-based rate. And then that coordinator put together their budget for that upcoming budget year, and they would present it to council. It's going to cost me $1.2 million to function this year, and
It's set to millage based.
15 meals is $1 million, 16 meals is 1.1, so I need 17 meals or whatever. And the council had to, vote on that. But we can't say the fire fee, raising the fire fee $10 is going to add $100,000, but we're already $700,000 behind what it costs to operate the fire service as it is with a $45 fire fee.
And see, if you needed 10 meals, that's something we have to, millage is controlled by the state legislature. We cannot put the most meals we can put on there, 4 meals or something for everything? 5 at the most?
And the 12% on commercial business, 12%?
Yes, 10.5% on commercial, and then, some industrial 6%, so you got 10.5, 6%, so it makes a difference.
It does.
Too. Fire, I've worked with fire departments where, there were districts. I worked where, they were part of the county. I worked with, different aspects. For instance, Kershaw County is the Lugol Fire Department is set by millage. They got their own fire district. It's within the county, but it's set by millage. And they operate off that millage technically.
And Kershaw's just changed to a countywide fire service, unified fire district.
Unified. And so, but like I said, even in other counties I worked at before, some have their own fire district, set by their own millage, and then some of it's done by the county. Some of them are actually county departments.
Yeah.
Like in like when I worked in Chester County, the Chester Fire District is their own, got their own thing, you know what I mean? They operate inside the city of Chester too, inside the city limits, but they also operate in the county too. They got a county. And everybody that lives in that district's assessed a millage, you know, and they basically operate whatever that millage is. If they they run a surplus, it goes in there, and if they run a deficit, they make it up the next year if they don't have anything left in the county. And some fire departments actually run by the county. I mean, the millage, whatever the county millage is set, is what it is.
Well, I know when Harbor Freight had the study done, the chief of Sunbury Fire Department came down, and actually me and John Moses rode around with him. We looked at all the fire departments, all the fire districts. He came up with a proposal. Of course, his proposal was to build. It was going. Basically, we're about $10 million behind in fire service in Dillon County. So it was going to take roughly around $10 million just to get us up to par. And then that's not what it was going to cost to continue the operations. But one of his suggestions was, you staff your main fire stations, station 1, 2, and 3, with at least a 3-man crew at each station.
Right.
And then your outlying stations that have large calls, then you put like one person on a daytime shift there. Like at station 4, station 9, and station 5, you would have one person out there on a daytime shift.
Yeah.
But station 1 will go to every call in Dillon County. So if station 3 had a call, station 1 would also be toned out. So now you got 6 firefighters at a fire versus one engineer.
One has to go to fire station 3 in Lakeview. What you gonna do when a big fire breaks out in Dillon while this is going on?
Then you rely on your outlier stations.
Coverage.
So it's really a kind of an improved version of the 3-station response that we want to go back to.
Correct.
Like Everett says, instead of staffing it with volunteers, you'd actually have paid professional firefighters covering those main areas.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
way you always have a guaranteed firefighting force in Lida, in Lakeview, and in Dillon. And again, I mean, we're kind of doing it now. There are calls where you only have 1 or 2 people that show up when you dispatch 2 or 3
Right.
stations.
Right. Especially during the day.
Well, at night
At
now.
night.
We have a lot of night calls where you only have 1 or 2 people showing up.
Right.
It's just.
I mean, you got to figure if you have a structure fire at 5 o'clock in the morning,
Yep.
Yeah.
You might get 1 or 2, maybe.
you might get 1 or 2. Where it's 6 o'clock in the morning, you might get 1 or 2 because
Yep.
everybody's up getting ready to go to work.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
You're exactly right. I mean,
So we're there.
yeah.
So that was just a
10 years ago, we talked about the same thing, and we knew it was
Well-
coming 10 years ago, that because we were losing volunteers even 10 years ago. We could tell there was a drop-off, I mean, not just here. I mean, it was in all the other counties I talked to too. It was even in the city fire department, you could see that drop, just because of volunteers. That didn't have anything to do with us or y'all. It was just, it's going to get less and less.
And he even proposed that, during the day, you have a 3-man crew during the day. 2 of those guys are just 8 or 10 hour guys.
Right.
Then they go home at night, because at night, between 5 o'clock in the afternoon to 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, you got help. Or
Yeah.
you get
More
6,
help.
7 or 8, 9, 10 people there.
Right.
It's just during the day,
Yeah.
you need that extra help. And so that's what he proposed.
And I know this is a budget meeting, we're supposed to focus on the budget, but, there's nothing that we're talking about today that we haven't already talked about for so many different years.
Yeah.
And so I kind of wonder if you don't bring it up in this meeting, should you not set up a task force, set up an agenda, have some kind of other vehicle? Because if not, we're going to be doing this again next year, 2021.
Yeah.
And
Right.
2022, 2023. So, and I agree with what we say. I mean, we're way behind in where we should be if we look at the comparable counties, whether that's Robinson County or Blenheim or, in Marlboro or Chesterfield. It's going to take a lot for the county, recognizing that the county has a lot of restrictions on what it can do to generate funds. You can only go up so much and all this other great stuff. But you need to have a 10-year plan. You need to have a 20-30 plan that this is all fixed. It's gonna probably take that long to fix it.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be a lot of loss between where we are now to where you get it where it's a fixed functional system like in Horry or Lexington and these other counties. But, you know, if you look at the graying in this room,
Yeah.
the graying in this room is leaving really fast. And the younger generation does not have that sense of camaraderie, of wanting to do good, wanting to grow the organization.
Yeah.
Where you don't have those people replacing us, they're not coming in. And so if you don't do something in these next few meetings going forward, it's gonna be to a point where, you know, the discussion will be, how can we hire more paid firefighters? How can we, you know, in a budget crunch that we look like we're all going forward, I don't think that's the move the county wants to make. But if something doesn't happen between now and then, we're
I
gonna be
think one
stuck.
thing that might help Dillon, in Dillon County, I mean, is with inland port, I see some good companies coming in, big companies. And if they pay millage and stuff, you're talking about big money from these industrial places. You're not talking about no
That's right.
$55. You're talking
That's
about
right.
big money and probably enough to keep the fire departments moving ahead.
Well, a lot of your big business that comes into the areas like that, say for example, Harbor Freight, how big they are. They come in up north, they buy the district, a little township, a truck, a
Yeah.
fire truck, for a fire truck.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they do that a lot up there.
Yeah. I think that, yeah, I mean,
I think as the area we grow, we're gonna see.
yeah, I think it's no question. I mean,
The thing about it right now is our industry and our town growth
Yeah.
is growing faster than our infrastructure can keep up with.
Yeah.
Fire service can't keep up with what's going on.
I mean, look at the roads, we've got the road situation, we got, you know, all the infrastructure being maxed
We
out, you know,
are
water, sewer,
struggling with
everything.
roads,
It's-
bridges, you name it. But, you know, the fire service, right now, if Harbor Freight catches on fire and if it's 25% involved, it'll take everything in Dillon County that we got to even try to extinguish that.
And Wyman Gordon, same way.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Well, yeah, Wyman Gordon's the same way. And it's titanium, so you can't spray water on it, so what you gonna do?
I mean, it's-
And while
it's-
we're ordering this,
Those pruners out there.
I don't know if they can invite it to a fire department, that is to Station 1, and gone through that place and.
We have. We've gone through it, we've looked at it, we've discussed their fire hazards. Their biggest fire hazard is in their dust collectors with the titanium, where they're grinding that titanium. And of course, you can't spray water on titanium because it reacts. So I'm working with Wyman Gordon to get something that's called a fuel encapsulator that you mix with water that actually encapsulates that titanium to be able to extinguish it. But getting back to the budget, you know, we all, you know, gonna pass this budget or whatever, this proposal. I mean, that's all fine and dandy, but, I mean, what are we gonna say when I meet my budget and a truck goes down? We're just not gonna repair it, we're gonna take it out of service.
Yeah.
So we're gonna end up going past the budget, blowing the budget.
Come on in, sit down, see if the other two councilmen didn't show up at the meeting.
What all, I heard you say something about you're in the process of applying for a grant.
We're working on a USDA grant.
Any of the rest, or is this for the whole?
This is for Station 5. And it's not me that's actually doing it, it's the PD Indian Coalition is actually applying for the grant for the fire department.
That's what we gotta get on.
Yeah, I mean, just go back and like I said before, is that, you know, years ago, we started out and we didn't, you know, we had no rule. I mean, we built, Station 1 basically ran everywhere, pretty much, and that was it. And way back in the day, you know,
Oh, yeah.
and Ladd and Road too.
We went everywhere.
That area there, but,
Ladd and Lakeview did.
you know, our idea was to, like I said, go out there and build, you know, one at Station 5 and then Station 4 and then build Lakeview, was to maximize the area so we could maximize the ISO rating for all the people, and, you know, as many people as we could. I mean, I'm sure there's some areas that couldn't do it, so I think our goal was that. But like I said, I think the fire service has progressed further enough now to where we're ready to go back and revamp and look at where we're at. And I think we accomplished what we wanted to accomplish by putting some of the stations out there to give us the stations out, at least the stations. paid for out there in the areas to get. Our goal is to get everybody down to at least an ISO 7. Most everybody, when we started out in 2002, 2003, most of the county was a 9 or 10.
I think everybody's a 5 now.
And so now, if everybody's down to a 4, I mean, if you're down to, our goal is to get to at least to a 7. So because between 9 and 10 down to a 7 was a big decrease in what you pay your insurance company. So technically, if I'm paying $1,000 a year for homeowners insurance, you probably get about $250, $300 savings if you went from a 10 to a 7. You know what I mean? And so that was what the goal was initially. But I think now we need to go back and maybe take a look at everything to see where we're at.
And that was a big part of what's been done out of that study I was talking about. The half of that study that's been completed is building the stations, putting the trucks out at all those stations and having the necessary trucks that you need. But I know you got tanker issues here and y'all need a bumper.
Yeah, we got a bumper tanker and rescue.
I mean, buying the tanker that we bought in the last budget year, that was our key piece that was missing to at least maintain what we have now at a 4. Our goal is to move that to, everybody go up, be constantly moving forward. So our goal is to move from a 4 to a 3 on the next survey.
Right.
So, we got people that went out and took fire officer classes. We upped our hydrant marking. We started doing inspections and pre-plans and keeping copies of those so we can show those to ISO when they come back. And ISO sat down, when he came and did the survey, he sat down and said, these are the things you need to do when I come back. This is what I'm looking for when I come back, and if you got these, you're going to improve. But, we got to have trucks that function. We got to have certified firefighters responding to calls. We got to have adequate training. Those things come down to us being able to afford that stuff. I mean, I know we talking about the number of volunteers is dwindling and things like that, but I mean, we got a pretty good roster to be in Lakeview, as small as it is, and a majority of that roster is certified, but it's because they want to be involved, and I said this at the last public safety committee meeting I'm at, that they deserve to have the things they need when they give their time to go out and respond to a fire. They deserve to have adequate gear. They deserve to have a radio so that they can communicate. So if something happens, we're not just looking for a lost firefighter. But I mean, a room full of ideas are great, and ideas are wonderful things. But until we give them legs, we just daydreaming in here. And we're functioning. We're barely functioning with what we got, and we're cutting what we got to barely function. But one fire truck without insurance wrecks. It takes us 2.5 years to replace it. So
That sounds good. Like I said, I think we need to go back and look at that study too and see where we're at, and see where, come up with a more long range plan.
Well, we need to see where we're at, but we also need to sit down and brainstorm where we're going. And say, okay, well, this is where we're at, this is great, but where do we want to be 5 years from now? Like Chip said, we need a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years from now plan on, this is what we're going to do. This is where we're going with this. I mean, I'm all against
plan, not a station plan.
Yeah,
We need a
fire system.
We're one fire department.
Because, I'm totally against having 20 trucks at one fire station. Every fire station don't need 20 trucks.
Right.
So, we need to reduce some of that down to help cut some of the maintenance costs. But, certain stations don't need 3 pumpers. They may not need but a pumper tanker and a crash truck.
Right.
So, we need to, all the chiefs get down and say, hey, I think this is what the fire stations need to look like. And of course, some stations may have a little bit more special equipment than others, but, I totally think we need to start reducing some of this.
Yeah, like you said right there, we really don't need all these brush trucks. The only thing we need is 3 brush trucks in this county. That's at the main station, 1, 2, and 3. We don't need all these brush trucks. I mean, we have a structure fire, a forest fire. We're not gonna fight it, it's forest's job, we're just there. We're just there to protect structures.
Right, that's right. I agree.
But, we do have one main issue, you know, I think,
Yeah.
I'm still doing the, Dalmatians, air packs, you still got Lakeview.
Since we got them at Station 1.
Yep, Dalmatians, we lease contract with them, I guess, so I don't know how it works, lease contract with the county, but I think Derek Graves is the one that got them.
Yeah.
Basically, they're not being flow tested since we got them. It is a hazard to our firefighters right now.
Right.
Well, we
I
got them
have-
replaced once.
Yep,
The initial ones we got replaced.
they're replaced, but now
They're
they're,
separate packs, but those packs that we got as replacements, it's time for them to be flow tested.
they have to be flow tested.
The hydro tested.
Yeah, well, we got cylinders.
Well, we got new cylinders.
Yeah,
They send us cylinders.
So, did every station get new cylinders? Yeah.
Yeah, but it only lasts for 3 years, so every 3 years, you're gonna have to call and say, I don't know how they got the lease contract, I don't know how they got it cleaned up. But, when I talked to the guy about sending our packs to be flow tested,
Right.
I got 2 boxes, right now I got only 4 packs that's actually working.
Right.
And we had, what, 12? We got 4, and the rest of them need to be sent off.
Right.
For 2 boxes to be sent off, it's right at $400 just to be sent off,
Right.
shipping costs. It would be cheaper for all of us to get together and do one shipment.
I got 2 or 3.
Well,
Several that need to be fixed.
here's the way they did the plan was, I got 5 air packs at Station 1. So he sent me just 5 air packs.
Right.
Now these are not the air packs that we have right now with the buddy breathing system. These are old air packs, but they are certified. So he sent me 5 so I could turn around and send him 5 of mine
Right.
to flow test
White.
back and forth. But I don't need them as much as he needs them.
Right.
Okay.
So I can send him those 5, you can put those in service and send him 5
Right.
because
Waiting on him.
you can't take all the air packs out of service and send to him
Right.
and it take him 4 months to get them back to you.
Yeah.
Because now you ain't got an air pack.
Right.
Is the flow test included in the lease price that we're
No.
paying every month? So we gotta pay separate to have a flow
Then
Yes.
test.
why don't we find somebody to flow test them here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Well,
thought-
we got a person,
The Scott representative that was contacted told them that because they were lease packs from Dalmatian, they would not flow test them.
Yeah.
they wouldn't, but there's, I can't think of the name of him now. He's got a mobile unit. He'll come around and flow test all your packs and hydro test your tank.
That makes a lot more
Yeah, the
sense than
guy who
spending
I use
$400 to ship some
Spartanburg
stuff to
work,
Colorado,
he
and then I
comes
gotta
to
pay
me
him the flow test.
and does it.
They told me it was out of the contract, so it's $75 per pack for flow test, in Dalmatian. That's what he told me on the
It
phone.
is. Yeah.
$75.
But he'll cut us a better deal. And if you got a stationary system like on your cascade system on your van, he'll go ahead, he'll test all those bottles too.
And the reason this is important, the reason why we're kind of talking about this, that flow test is absolutely critical. It looks at the inside of that air pack, those
What about
little
flow test?
plastic pieces,
Yeah.
to see if there's anything cracked or corroded. Because what happens is if we're in a house fire and that thing breaks, there is no take another breath or two. It's,
Yeah.
it's broke, we ain't getting air, hopefully the bypass works so we can get out.
Right.
So it's gotta work 100% or it's gonna
Or
work
it doesn't
0.
work at
There is
all.
no in the middle of these
Yeah.
things. So,
Right.
and they break. I mean, I've got packs that are 2015, 2016 that I had to replace parts on.
Yeah.
Well, the
They
reason
break.
we went to
And the ones we've
Dalmatian,
got are 20 years old.
yeah, the reason we went to Dalmatian is because of the issue that happened in Lida,
Yeah.
Yeah.
with the air packs.
Right.
But I'm with Chip, I mean, even the air packs we got right now are 20 years old.
Yeah. I mean,
But
I would not use
to
that.
upgrade,
Yeah.
we can't afford
Yeah.
to upgrade.
Right.
Well, when the chiefs agreed to ask council to go to leasing Dalmatian air packs at the price we were given, the person that gave us the price told us we were leasing new air packs too, not 20-year-old ones.
Yeah, they're not new air packs.
When does this lease run out?
It ran out last year, they just renewed the lease.
And it says you're supposed to have new ones.
No, no, we were told in the meeting that they were new air packs.
Yeah, they're not.
By the person that organized, got the prices, and then the freight truck showed up at each station and unloaded packs, and we took them out of the box, and the first ones we got were 2002s.
These companies.
Then we got some 2007s to replace them, and they upped the lease price $30.
Pass out the fire departments and then rotate them or whatever so often.
Well, for what we're paying on the lease program, we can buy
Yeah.
probably 2 or 3 packs for one station. The problem is, you know, you're gonna have to add that money into the budget and say, okay, well, we're
That's right.
gonna buy these packs to get out of Dalmatian.
Yeah.
And as you buy, Station 9 gets 10 air packs or whatever they need, then you quit leasing from Dalmatian for Station 9.
Yeah.
Then you go to the next station.
Yeah.
That's the only way we can get out of this lease program.
That's what
right now.
West Florence Fire Department just did. It took them 3 years to get out of a lease, but they went for very nice air packs through MSA's, top of the line, has a lot of safety features, and it came with a better warranty than what we have today. So, but it's going to, again, talk about this long-term plan that we need to get to as a department. That's the things that you fix in those long-term plans.
One brand new MSA G1 pack, $26,000.
I'm worth a lot more when I need that.
No, it's cheap. It's cheaper.
Yeah, it's a lot. It depends on what brand you want. There's a lot of great features, a lot of little, so if you want the thermal imaging and all that cool stuff, but we just need things that are functional and safe. I mean, and again, whatever functional and safe is, but I think I'm worth more than air pack as an individual. So, there is a dollar and cents value when we're talking budgets, but there is no other me. One day we're going to have a critical failure using old equipment, and then we as chief officers and as county administrators, we're going to be responsible for those answers. And the answers are, we knew it was an issue, but we were broke. And that's not going to go well for us in any sense of the matter. So, and the guys that's in this room is probably the ones it's going to fail with, because we're all interior, we're all going in, we're all fighting fires. So.
Well, we're gonna have a lot more public safety meetings, and I hope that the people on the committee will show up next time. I know it's something, I know those two guys, and they would have been here, but something's come up, and they totally forgot it or something. I don't know. I apologize for them, because I know y'all can't be able to come to the meeting. I appreciate it, but I hope the next meeting, it's not gonna be that long from now, that y'all will come back again, and we'll have at least 2 people so the committee can do something. There's 3 on each committee, but I appreciate you being here today, and I know Clay's going to try to work out what he can with this budget. He's still working on it. I don't know what we can promise y'all, but I do know if you get new volunteers and stuff, and they are firefighter ones, before they go in the building, they will have adequate turnout gear, brand new turnout gear. And we're gonna have to, you can't send somebody.
You can't do it.
And like I say, we're gonna work on that. Maybe y'all can come up with priorities, with the first priority thing that we need to work on first, because I know we can't do it all at one time. But I know the situation y'all in. I was on the fire department 25 years ago, but for 25 years I meant, but it was all a different thing back then. When I first got on the fire department, we didn't have the turnout gear. I remember they gave me a pair of boots one time. I thought I had something, but we didn't go in fires like y'all do in fire. And we'd fight a house fire with a booster hose and shoot it in the window.
Well, back then, everything, all the furniture and houses were built of wood and cloth. Now they're built of plastic and foam, and they burn hotter, they burn faster, and
gases.
They produce some crazy gases that you really don't want to come in contact with your skin, much less breathe it. So it's a different world now.
I appreciate y'all coming, and like I say, I won't keep any longer. We're going to have another meeting after this meeting.
I'll probably,
I don't believe we're going to have anybody.
I'll probably circle back around with the chiefs and them and Moses too, and see what we
tell
can
these
do.
people anything for
Yeah,
that's
that's
I think
that's fine.
Talk to the other counties though and find out what kind of grants they're applying for. 'Cause we can do
USDA
that.
grants, FEMA grants. I mean, you got Little Town of Clyde just built a brand new fire station with new trucks.
Find out
So
where
here's
to
the
get
deal with the
money
grants.
from.
They keep that stuff to themselves. We
Yeah.
do a lot of talking, but
Yeah.
they don't share a lot of information because they want as best chances again. That's like having a good fishing hole, a good hunting spot. You don't tell all your buddies about it.
Yeah, the more
That's
people
how
you
that
tell, the
grant
more
stuff
people's gonna try to
works.
get in
So,
there. So
I mean, when we got our radios, We had to jump on it, we had to work hard on it, we had to put everything in place before everybody else
And
found
nag, call
Yeah.
every day to find out where
Yeah.
that grant is.
So it's one of them deals, but yeah, we stay on top of the grants as best we can.
When y'all go home and think about something, if something comes up, give Claire a call.
Yeah, I'm gonna get y'all back together and we sit down, because there's some ideas on grants and stuff I think I've done and I've seen in other counties, and I may throw that out, and let's pursue some of them, and then also let's look at, the long-range plan like we did before.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if not, like I said, every year we're doing the same thing, and we don't want that. It's not comfortable.
Spin the
It's not
wheels.
where we want to be.
Yeah.
We don't want to continue to beat ourselves up for something we know. Let's just figure out what it is and let's see how we can fix it together.
Even if it's small stuff, you know, we gotta make some kind of progress. We're not making any progress.
Yeah, we're not.
We need at least a 5-year plan so we can try to do something every year until we get to this point. We'll have something to work with, and it won't just come up like this every year. We don't know anything.
Yeah.
Nothing gets done.
We're one hurricane or one bad ice storm away from not being able to answer the
Or
calls.
one train wreck.
We're close.
Yeah.
There is no extra, there is no,
But I do think if we go to millage and stuff, and the industries come in and they pay their share and stuff, I think we'll have more money to do things with. That's what we're looking at. We can't do it right this year, but we're looking at it.
Well, you know, and we're trying to do our part as well. I mean, we're contacting forestry all the time.
Right.
So, you know, we're trying to get stuff from forestry. You know.
we're,
I mean, we are, I mean, it's not like we sitting back saying, you know what, y'all need to fund the fire department. We are going out trying, you know, I send an email to somebody at Harbor Freight every week, so.
I mean, Florence County and Darlington County and Marlboro County has given us stuff all the time to help us out.
Yeah.
Their
And
success we're getting.
Harbor Freight's trying to do something, so.
Well, Gordon, I think they would help too.
Well, we can talk about it offline.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we'll have some more things beside Harbor Freight and Mama Gordon. I hope we have some nice companies that come in.
Well, the Inland Port has some kind of, John knows about that grant, maybe we need to.
But I was just thinking about, you know, I don't know how these containers, what they would catch on fire or something, but you have to have a lot of trucks and how they got them stacked up. I just don't know.
The Inland Port grants, 1,000, 2,500, or 5,000.
Yeah.
When we wrote for Ladder, they got 2,500, and that's what we bought the rescue jack struts with.
I'm
When
hoping
you
things
send
will
in
get
that
better. I don't
wish
see how they can
list,
get it to work.
prioritize it.
It's all priority.
I don't think I replied all.
It's not a wish list.
I don't think I replied to my email that he sent, but I sent back a list of what I was requesting. I need to forward that to you too.
Well, I mean, if you need radios more than you need
Like I put a
turnout
specific number of
gear.
radios, specific number sets of turnout gear, equipment for one of the trucks in Lakeview, and then all the trucks got to be tested and serviced.
That's all.
And see, that's all
That was
part.
my, and I mean, that's just
I can't say.
function plus that. That's what I need to get through this year.
Y'all still have fire chief meetings?
We hadn't had one in several months because of COVID.
You know, fire chiefs need to get together and come up with a priority list, just like Lisa said, was number one, first thing we could work on, and the second thing. Give us some kind of idea.
Might not be a bad idea too, to split it up between fireman needs and equipment needs. Because we're gonna talk about a whole lot of difference in money.
My main priority is getting that ladder truck in service before forestry comes, picks it back up, and takes it back with it.
All right, that sounds good, guys. I appreciate it. Like I said, we'll get together and we'll sit down and come up with prioritization of what we need to fund.
I apologize to y'all again, but I think we had a good meeting.
Yeah, I learned a lot. I really
I
did.
know I learned a lot, and I think Clay and
They've got a
Lisa
lot
knows
to
what's
learn.
going on. And we'll can't make a motion and second myself and everything, we'll adjourn.